Talking about ham radio stuff. Someone is. Public education is a tool of the system. Schools are indoctrination camps. If parents aren't doing their job teaching doctrine, then the system will do it. Parents can't compete with school when they have our kids for 45 hours a week teaching lies. We homeschool our kids, and it's worth the cost. Well, absolutely. And that's the thing is, even if you teach kids doctrine at home, it doesn't matter. It's not going to stop the system from indoctrinating your kids, or actually more so even the other kids. Because my parents were both very devout. Just as an example, my parents were very devout Mormons, right? And they took me to church. They made me do all the all the churchy things, and not just like church on Sunday. For those of you guys who don't know, Mormons go to a class before school called seminary. So you have to get up at like 4:30 in the morning. At least this is how I had to do it. And then you go to the church for like an hour of seminary, and then you go to school, And that's not all either. And then you got Boy Scouts, which is at the church. And then you have, what was it called? I forget what it was called, but it was like youth group. It was called something else, but it's like youth group once or twice a week. And then you have, just whatever activity would be on the weekend, like that Saturday from either the youth group or the Boy Scouts or just something, right? So you're at fucking church like all the time. Look, I think it's great, right? It did successfully hammer in a lot of good values, and it also gave me better peers, right? Like a lot of my good friends from that era were Mormon kids, so they were relatively good kids, and a lot of them also stopped going to church around the same time I did. For the same reasons, because the other part of it, even though we had all of that going on, at the end of the day, I chose the wicked world's ways, right? I chose to be cool. I would rather be cool. All the music I listened to was telling me that to be cool, you smoked pot and drank and fucked. And MTV was telling me that. And all my friends who also wanted to be cool were telling me that. And being cool won. And that's what I did. And look, there's probably a lot of stuff my parents did wrong. But I mean, if that wasn't enough, if what they were doing wasn't enough, it's almost never enough. Because the amount, I mean, they submerged me in church stuff, and not just me, all my brothers and sisters. And I still chose. Now, look, it worked on some of my siblings didn't turn out like me. Not that I'm like this horrible person, but like I was the bad kid I was the troublemaker in my family, right? But it's because I chose to be cool. And so if you send your kid to public schools, even if you try to be involved and make sure they're exposed to your church group as much as possible, they're going to be around people all day long. As you said, like 45 hours a week. I mean, strangers are going to be around your child more than you are. That alone should be a reason to at least consider homeschooling. Because you don't get those years back. Once that's imprinted in their mind, it's almost impossible to undo that. Think about all the stories you see of all these. Well, I mean, look, it's a meme, right? You see all these photos on Twitter and stuff where it shows the before and after feminism photos of these girls. It's like a picture of a girl in high school, and she looks, cute and somewhat modest or whatever. And then the second photo, her hair's head shaved and like dyed pink, and she's got like a billion piercings and tattoos, and she's been fucked every fucking way you possibly can. I mean, it's that's what happens. And you can try to blame the parents for like, well, they should have laid down a stronger foundation. And you wouldn't be totally wrong, but like that's nearly impossible to do when your child is around government employees longer than they're around you. And now, like we've seen with this culture of ratting your parents out, report your parents as extremists. We'll put you on TV. You'll get a GoFundMe and get $200,000. $200,000 for ratting out your parents. You'll get interviewed by fags on CNN and told how courageous you are, and you'll be famous on every social media platform in the lefty circles for a couple of days, maybe. The algorithm will promote you. You'll get all the likes and retweets and shares and hearts and everything that you've ever desired. You're going to have teachers poisoning the mind of your child, and they're going to make it very clear. I mean, like we've seen already with these schools, right? If your daughter wants birth control, it used to be you wouldn't get that at fucking school, right? And then it was, well, we have to get parents' permission or something. Now, if you want to go in to the nurse's office and talk about having sex change surgery, they don't tell your parents. They don't want you raising your children. They want to raise your children in the system. They have discovered that this system of creating mediocre slaves has actually turned out pretty okay. It's worked out quite well. These nice, compliant NPCs. Because that's what the ruling class wants. Like, the reason why the NPC meme, it's so perfect, and it will never die, I hope. Or if it does, hopefully it evolves because it gets more accurate. But it's pretty fucking accurate as it is. Is that if you're the ruling class, think about it. You're designing like a game. You want the world to be just this game, like this, like these games that you can do a mission if you want. But if you want to also just drive around in a car and run fucking people over all day, and it doesn't matter because they just get respawned or whatever, and they don't have names or families or anything like that, then that's just what you do. You can just do that. That's what the ruling class wants the world to be like. They just want to design a map where, if we want to do like a mission where we're, building a rocket to the moon or something like that or whatever, maybe we can do that. But if we just want to drive around and run people over with our cars and fuck, quite literally, by the way, I mean, the ruling class, they're fucking running people over with their cars all the time.